Hello all, welcome to Kalike, and today we will deep dive into the world of units in physics. Now, you must be wondering, units is something not really new to you because probably you have studied about units in your previous grade. You might also know or might be aware of certain units, right? Like kilogram, gram, or let's say second, right? So you might know that these type of these names are what are known that they are generally associated with a number in front to the left side of it, and the number along with this name is what is referred to as a unit. But then I want to tell you that in the next few minutes through the class, you're going to learn or explore more about units. It is very essential. I urge you to concentrate. I urge you to focus on what I teach because what you learn now will help you solve complex numericals that you're going to probably, come across in various other chapters that we are going to deal with in the coming classes. Okay. So to get started, let's define what's a unit. A unit is defined as an arbitrarily chosen internationally accepted reference standard is what makes a unit. So a unit is basically an arbitrarily chosen internationally accepted reference standard is what makes a unit. This is what we refer to as something called a unit. Okay, so this is the definition of unit. You must remember this for your examination point of view as well. It will be a 1-mark question in case it comes for your board exams. It's a very important question. So unit is an arbitrarily chosen, internationally accepted reference standard is what is referred to as unit, or that is the definition for unit, and this can be asked for a mark in your board examinations. Now let's talk about fundamental and derived units. So there are two categories of units. One is fundamental unit, another is derived unit. Okay. Now derived units, as the name itself suggests, it's a kind of unit that is derived from the basic or the fundamental units. Okay. Now before we get into derived units, we will talk about the fundamental or the base units. So the categorization is fundamental units and derived units. Right? So there are about 7 base or fundamental units. There are about 7 in number. Okay. So what are those 7 base units? Let's list them out one by one along with their SI unit. Okay. So the very basic fundamental unit is length, as you know, which is measured in meter. Okay. I've seen a lot of people write this in short form as MTR, which is wrong. Okay. They sometimes add a yes to it, which is also wrong. It has to be only written as meter, and the denotation is only small m. It has to be denoted by the letter small m. Please keep that in mind. Now the next basic unit This is the first one. The second one is going to be mass. And mass is measured in kilogram, as you already know. Right? And kilogram is measured in kg, K caps. And some people write this as kgs, which is absolute rubbish. It has to be only written as kg or m. Okay? M in case of length and kg in case of mass. Please remember that. Next is time, which is obviously measured in second, and it is denoted by the letter S. I've seen a lot of people writing to or referring to it as sec, which is also the wrong denotion or notation of how you must be writing a unit in the short form. Now, the fourth one is electric current, which is measured in ampere, named after the scientist, and denoted by the letter capital A. You cannot write it as amp. I've seen many learners write it as amp, which is again an absolute rubbish. So this is the right notation. Fifth one is temperature. And temperature is measured in a unit called Kelvin, again named after the scientist Kelvin. It is denoted by the letter K, which is capital K. So this is the right denotion for measuring temperature. Sixth one is the amount of substance. The amount of substance is measured in mole. In short, this is written as MOL. This is the short form of writing the unit. The seventh one is luminosity, or the intensity of light, which is also a basic or a fundamental physical unit, and it is measured in candela. And in short, it can be written as capital C, small d. Okay, so these are some denotions, or how you denote the units in short form as well. And these can be a very important 1-mark question as well for your board exams. So please keep this in mind, learn them and memorize them. I mean, it's very easy to remember. These are very basic. Just make sure that you don't write the wrong short forms. As I mentioned here, these are the right short forms. Please remember them and use them correctly. So now we are going to talk about derived units. As I mentioned earlier, derived units are the units that are derived from fundamental or base units. Okay, so let's try to understand what is a derived unit. To understand this better, let's take the example of the English alphabets that we have in the language English. So English language has about 26 alphabets, right? Now, so these are the basic, I'm comparing this to the base units that you learned just now, the 7 base units like length, mass, time, electric current, temperature, amount of substance, and luminosity. So since those are the 7 base quantities, base physical quantities in physics, these are the 26 base alphabets or fundamental alphabets in the language English. Right? Now, using these basic alphabets starting from A, B, C, D up to Z, You combine the alphabets, you combine C with A and B, you make a letter cap, right? And you combine them in different ways, cat, apple, or any other, physics. You make millions and millions of more words. You combine these alphabets to make more words, millions of words, which we use in our everyday language to communicate, right? So, just like that, just like the 26 base or fundamental alphabets can be used in order to derive all other millions of words that we use in everyday communication, we can use length, mass, time, temperature, I'm writing it in short, temperature, and then amount of substance, I'm writing it in short, luminosity. So all these, what is the other one that we left? Length, mass, time, temperature, amount of substance, and electric current. So using these 7 base or, physical quantities. So using these 7 base or physical quantities, we can derive other physical quantities. For example, let's say velocity. Okay, so how do you define velocity? Velocity is defined as the change in rate of change of a distance or rate of change of displacement over a period of time. That is, whenever length changes with respect to time, whenever an object covers a certain distance or a certain length in a certain period of time, you get a physical quantity called velocity. So velocity is basically L by T, length divided by time. The change in length of an object or the change in distance of an object over a period of time is what we refer to as velocity, right? So velocity will become a derived physical quantity which is derived from the base or fundamental physical quantities like length and time. Okay, I hope you understood what a derived physical quantity is. A derived physical quantity is the one that is derived using the 7 fundamental units that are in place. Okay, now a derived unit is, you write the unit for velocity from the units of the base quantities. What was the unit for length that we learned? It was measured in meter. What is the unit for time? It is measured in second. So it is meter per second. So velocity is measured as meter per second. So this unit is what we call as the derived unit. So derived unit is the unit that you derive using the units for base or fundamental quantities. Okay, so I hope this is clear. We will explore more and more of it as we go further into dimensions. I will take it up in my next class. If you have any concerns or doubts, you can always comment below. I'm happy to answer it. Okay, so now we are going to talk about the different system of units in physics. Okay, so the different system of units have been used over various years in physics. So from the various centuries. Now, one of the system of units is called CGS. Another system of units is called the FPS system. And the last system that is used even today is called the MKS system, which is also referred to as the SI system. These are the different system of units. Now, what does C, G and S stand for? So, C stands for centimeter, G stands for gram and S stands for second. So, you are basically measuring length, mass and time in different system of units. So they have selected only 3 basic units. Length, mass and time are the very basic units. So they were measuring length in centimeter in CGS system, and in foot in FPS system, and in meter in MKS system. Whereas mass was measured in grams in the CGS system. In the FPS system, the P here stands for pound, so mass was measured in pound. Whereas in the MKS or the SI system, K stands for kilograms, so the physical quantity mass was measured in kilogram. So the last but not the least is the time. S stands for second in CGS system. Similarly, S stands for second even in the FPS system. So this is also second. And the last one, which is the MKS or the SI system, also time was measured in second. Okay, so this you must remember. This is something that we are using right now, which is used worldwide even now. Foot, pound and second, which is the FPS system, is used in some European countries. Some countries still use gram, centimeter and second as in the CGS system. But the most widely used system of units is the meter, kilogram, second, or the MKS system or the SI system. So please remember, we always express length in terms of meter, mass in kilogram, and time always in second. This is very, very important from problem solving purpose point of view as well. It is essential that you use these units only, which is the standard form of units that is used worldwide. Okay, please remember that. Well, now in addition to the 7 base units or the fundamental units that you have learned so far, we have 2 more fundamental units that have been added recently in the past, and you must know it. Okay, so we will discuss those 2 fundamental units also. One of them is plane angle. Now, plane angle is an angle subtended at the circle by the arc length, and it is a 2-dimensional angle. Okay, now how do we understand this? Imagine when I say plane angle or a 2-dimensional angle, please remember that it is an angle formed on a 2-dimensional plane or a piece of paper. A paper is a 2-dimensional plane which has the x-axis and the y-axis. So now let's say this is a regular size pizza, and then you have a large pizza. So this is a large pizza and this is a medium size pizza. This is the center of the pizza and this is the center of the pizza here. Okay, so here, now if I show this, this is the radius of the circle or the radius of the pizza. Now I want to cut out a piece, a segment from it. So I take out a segment. So this length is what is referred to as the arc length, which is denoted by the letter S. In this case, since the radius is large, you get a bigger piece or a larger length of the arc length. So ds is larger here since r is greater. So you can see as the radius increases, the arc length also increases. So if it is a bigger piece of pizza, obviously you get a better arc length slice, whereas if it is a small pizza and the radius of the pizza is small, you get a small arc length size pizza to eat and relish. So the angle that is subtended at the center is what is known as the plane angle, and it is denoted by the letter d theta. Now why do we refer to it as d theta and not theta? D refers to a very small angle. So in physics, generally we talk about very small angles, but here I'm giving you an analogy of a pizza so that it becomes easy to understand. So theta or d theta is the angle subtended at the center by the radii and the arc length. Even here this angle is d theta, so therefore we write it as the arc length is equal to, I think it is d theta is equal to the arc length divided by r. In other words, we can write it as d theta is the angle, the plane angle is defined as the ratio of the arc length subtended by the radius at the center of the circle. Okay. Now, plane angle is measured in radians. It is measured in a SI unit called radian. And in short, it is written as rad, R-A-D. So, instead of measuring it in degrees, unlikely we measure it in radian, and that is the SI unit of plane angle or even the solid angle that we are going to discuss in few minutes now. So I hope I have made this clear. If you have any questions, please comment below. I'm happy to answer them. I'm happy to explain it again. So larger the radii, you get larger arc length slice of pizza, and theta is the angle that is subtended at the center by the radius and the arc length of the circle at the center of the circle. Okay. So that is what, this is another basic or fundamental unit that you need to remember, which is measured in radians, and this can also be asked for a mark. You must know the SI unit for each fundamental and basic quantity. Okay, so now we are going to discuss the solid angle, which is also another important base unit or base physical quantity. So unlike plane angle, solid angle is a three-dimensional angle. Now what do you mean by a three-dimensional angle? It's for example, when I said plane angle was a two-dimensional angle, it was just a circle that you can draw on a piece of paper. But when I say solid angle or a three-dimensional angle, you literally have to imagine a sphere like earth, or a sphere like a football, right? So you imagine I'm drawing a big football. I can't draw a big football on the board, but then imagine the circle that I draw here is actually a sphere or a football that has gone, half part of it has gone into the board. It has, it is into the board, and which we cannot see, and half part has come out of the board, and it is somewhere here. So it is a very big sphere extending into the wall and coming out of the wall. Okay, so this is, imagine this is the football, which is spherical in shape. Now this is the center of the football, and let's say you are standing somewhere here at the center of the football. Okay, maybe we can draw a bigger circle so that it will make some more sense to you. So yes, much better. This is the center, and you are somewhere, you are watching, you are at the center, you are standing exactly at the center of the football, and the football, the some part of the football has come out, so the surface area is still here, some part of it is inside the board, as I already told you. Now again, so suppose, imagine you are standing here with a torch, and the light rays fall on the surface of the sphere. A certain area, a certain part or area, since the spherical football has come out of the board and has gone into the board, a certain surface area will be illuminated if you are holding a torch inside, and you are holding the torch exactly from the center, the rays would go here and certain surface area will be illuminated. So I will show you that. So let's say this part is illuminated by the torchlight that you are holding at the center. So this area is called the surface area, and the angle subtended at the center is referred to as d theta only, and this is the radius of the sphere, not the circle. It's a sphere. A part of it is out and a part of it is inside, and some part is illuminated because you are holding a torch at the center and the rays go and fall, and this part only gets illuminated. Now the angle d theta is referred to as dA, which is the surface area divided by r square. This is for the solid angle. Now if it was a plane angle, it would be d theta is equal to ds divided by r only. So the difference is here you get r, whereas for solid angle you get r square. Both are measured using a unit called radian, and it is in short written as rad. Okay, these formulae are important from your numerical purpose. I mean, solving the numericals also, as well as it can be an MCQ or it can be a 1-mark board question as well. So these are important. Please remember them. You might come across some numerical where you might probably use this formula. I hope that's clear. Now, if you have any questions, you can always comment. I'm more than happy to answer them and re-explain things if it's not clear. Uh, so yeah, that's all for today and this in today's video. In our next video, we are going to explore more about units. We'll probably talk more about significant figures and errors in measurement in the coming classes. Now before I end the class, I'd like to tell you, please remember, if you take care of physics, physics will take care of you. Make sure your fundamentals are right and you really feel physics is so simple. See you in my next class. Thank you.